Every year on June 26th, the world observes the International Day in support of victims of torture. This day stands as a solemn reminder of the pain and injustice that countless individuals have endured and continue to endure in every corner of the globe. It is a day that transcends borders, languages, and cultures, uniting humanity in a shared commitment to justice and compassion. This is a day for reflection and renewed commitment, not celebration. It is a time to pause and honor the memory of those who have suffered, and to recognize the ongoing struggles faced by survivors. We gather in silence, in thought, and in solidarity, acknowledging the deep wounds that torture inflicts on individuals, families, and entire communities. Its purpose: to stand in solidarity with millions who have endured unimaginable suffering. By coming together, we send a powerful message. You are not alone, and your pain has not gone unnoticed. Our collective support is a beacon of hope for those who are still fighting to heal. Torture is an abhorrent violation of human rights and dignity, meant to shatter the human spirit and silence dissent. It is a tool of fear, used to oppress, intimidate, and control. The scars it leaves, physical, emotional, and psychological, can last a lifetime, affecting not just individuals, but entire societies. This day reminds us that torture is never acceptable, under any circumstances. No justification, no emergency, no political motive can ever legitimize such cruelty. The world must stand firm in its rejection of torture and demand accountability from those who perpetrate it. It calls on governments, organizations, and individuals to speak out and support survivors. We are urged to raise our voices, to advocate for stronger protections, and to ensure that survivors receive the care and justice they deserve. The observance is a global call to action, mobilizing public opinion and pressuring governments to end torture. It is a day when the world's attention is focused on the urgent need for change, and when the voices of survivors and advocates are amplified. It highlights the absolute prohibition of torture under international law, a principle meant to be universal. Treaties and conventions, such as the United Nations Convention Against Torture, exist to protect every person, everywhere, from this grave abuse. Yet in many places, this prohibition is ignored, and people are subjected to torment in detention centers and secret rooms. The reality is that torture persists, often hidden from public view, and often without consequence for the perpetrators. This day shines a light into those dark places, demanding accountability and justice for victims. It is a call to expose the truth, to support investigations, and to ensure that those responsible are brought to justice. The journey of a torture survivor does not end when the abuse stops. The scars, both visible and invisible, can last a lifetime. Healing is a long and difficult process, requiring compassion, understanding, and ongoing support from the community. We have a collective responsibility to provide medical care, psychological counseling, legal assistance, and social reintegration. Only by addressing the full range of survivors' needs can we help them reclaim their lives and dignity. By focusing on victims' needs, we help them rebuild their lives and show their suffering is not forgotten. Our actions can restore hope, empower survivors, and help break the cycle of trauma for future generations. The day honors the resilience and courage of survivors, many of whom become advocates for change. Their voices inspire others, and their determination fuels the global movement against torture. Their stories drive the global movement to eradicate torture. By sharing their experiences, they challenge us to confront injustice and to work for a world where no one suffers in silence. On this day, we listen, learn, and amplify their calls for a world free from torture. We commit to education, advocacy, and action, ensuring that the lessons of the past guide us toward a more just future. Our solidarity is our strength. On June 26th, we unite to make that strength felt worldwide. Together, we can create a future where dignity is protected, justice is served, and torture is consigned to history. The International Day in support of victims of torture is rooted in the United Nations' unwavering commitment to upholding human dignity and justice for all. This day stands as a powerful reminder of the global community's responsibility to confront and eliminate torture in every form, wherever it occurs. The United Nations has long been at the forefront of the fight for human rights, bringing together nations to create a world where cruelty and inhumanity have no place. June 26th marks the day in 1987 when the UN Convention Against Torture officially came into force, a monumental step forward in international law and human rights protection. For the first time in history, torture was explicitly outlawed worldwide, sending a clear message that such acts would no longer be tolerated by the international community. This landmark convention was the result of years of tireless advocacy by survivors, human rights defenders, and organizations who refused to let the voices of victims go unheard. After the horrors of World War II, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights boldly declared, "No one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment." But while this declaration set a vital moral standard, the world soon realized that a binding, enforceable treaty was urgently needed to turn words into action. In the 1970s, courageous global campaigns and investigative journalism exposed the shocking prevalence of torture, sparking outrage and pushing the UN to take decisive action. The convention was finally adopted in 1984, and after years of advocacy and negotiation, it entered into force in 1987, marking a turning point in the global fight against torture. In 1997, recognizing the need for ongoing awareness and solidarity, the UN General Assembly proclaimed June 26th as the International Day in support of victims of torture. This transformed a legal milestone into a global day of advocacy, remembrance, and support for survivors, uniting people across continents in a shared commitment to justice. Today, it stands as an annual focal point in the ongoing fight to end torture, inspiring action, solidarity, and hope for a world free from inhumanity. The UN Convention Against Torture is a powerful legal instrument, not just a symbol. It defines torture as the intentional infliction of severe pain or suffering by or with the consent of a public official. The convention establishes an absolute prohibition. No circumstance can justify torture. Governments cannot use war, security, or emergency as excuses. States must take effective measures to prevent torture in any territory under their control. The convention requires states to criminalize torture and prosecute or extradite perpetrators, closing loopholes for escape. It established the Committee Against Torture to monitor compliance and investigate allegations. States must report regularly and can be held accountable for violations. Individuals can submit complaints if their rights are violated. This system puts real pressure on governments to turn words into action. This day is dedicated to the most fundamental human value, dignity. It reminds us that every person, regardless of their background, beliefs, or circumstances, deserves to be treated with respect and compassion. Upholding human dignity is not just a principle, but a responsibility we all share. Torture is a brutal assault on dignity, aiming to dehumanize and destroy. It leaves invisible scars that can last a lifetime, stripping away a person's sense of self-worth and belonging. By standing together, we reject this dehumanization and reaffirm everyone's right to respect and integrity. Our collective voice sends a powerful message that cruelty and injustice have no place in our world. The day breaks the silence that allows torture to persist, demanding thorough investigations and justice for victims. It calls on authorities to listen, act, and ensure that no abuse goes unchallenged. Accountability is essential, not just for punishment but for healing and public acknowledgement. Justice helps restore dignity to survivors and signals that such acts will not be tolerated. The day also highlights the need for victim support. Survivors face lasting wounds, from PTSD to social isolation. Many struggle to find their place in society again, needing both understanding and practical help. Rehabilitation centers and organizations provide medical, psychological, legal, and social support. These services are vital for helping survivors regain their confidence and rebuild their futures. Supporting victims helps them rebuild their lives and restores hope. It also strengthens our communities, showing that compassion and solidarity can overcome even the deepest wounds. The fight against torture is a global struggle, requiring governments to ratify and implement the convention and its protocols. International cooperation is crucial to prevent abuses and protect human rights everywhere. Civil society must continue monitoring and advocacy. NGOs, journalists, and activists play a key role in exposing violations and supporting those affected. Ordinary citizens must stay informed and speak out. Each of us can make a difference by raising awareness and standing up for those whose voices are silenced. This shared commitment is our greatest strength. When we unite for dignity and justice, we create a world where everyone can live free from fear and oppression. Together, we work to consign torture to history, building a future rooted in respect, empathy, and hope for all. The International Day in support of victims of torture raises public awareness worldwide. Human rights groups organize events, vigils, exhibitions, workshops to educate and foster empathy. Media coverage brings survivors' stories to light, making the issue real and personal. Informed citizens demand action, lobbying for stronger laws, better training, and independent oversight. The day holds governments accountable to their international obligations. Legal professionals reflect on their role in preventing torture and ensuring justice. Special clinics and training reinforce that torture is illegal and must be excluded from justice systems. International solidarity gives hope to survivors and protection to activists. It sends a message to repressive regimes. The world is watching. This global support sustains the long-term fight against torture. Supporting survivors' healing is central to this day. Recovery requires urgent medical care for physical injuries and long-term health needs. Specialized professionals help survivors regain well-being. Psychological wounds are often deepest. PTSD, anxiety, and depression are common. Safe, confidential therapy helps survivors process trauma and rebuild trust. Legal support is vital. Holding perpetrators accountable and seeking reparations affirms dignity. Legal aid organizations guide survivors through complex systems. Social and vocational reintegration helps survivors reclaim their place in society. Programs offer housing, language training, and job skills, fostering community and belonging. This holistic approach empowers survivors to move beyond victimhood. It restores agency and hope. Civil society organizations are the lifeblood of the anti-torture movement. They document cases, gather evidence, and challenge official denials, often at great risk. Their research fuels advocacy for legal and policy reform, pushing for treaty ratification and strong national laws. They propose solutions and build coalitions for lasting change. NGOs provide direct support, medical care, therapy, legal aid, and safe spaces for survivors. Their expertise is often the only lifeline for those who have suffered torture. Civil society also raises awareness, organizing events and campaigns to keep torture in the public eye. They use media to amplify survivors' voices and mobilize support. This work builds the political will needed to fight torture. By connecting individual stories to a global movement, civil society empowers people to create change. The fight to end torture demands renewed commitment on many fronts. Stronger enforcement of international laws is essential, closing the gap between promises and practice. Governments must investigate all allegations and prosecute perpetrators, regardless of rank. Universal jurisdiction must be strengthened so torturers have no safe haven. Expanding access to victim support is critical. Rehabilitation centers need more funding. Every survivor deserves medical, psychological, legal, and social support. Engaging the next generation is vital. Human rights education and youth activism will sustain the movement. Young leaders and new technologies can drive change. Global solidarity and cooperation are key to confronting rising authoritarianism and abuse. United, we can make a torture-free world an achievable goal. The International Day in support of victims of torture is a day of remembrance, resilience, and renewed commitment. Torture is an assault on our shared humanity, a defining moral challenge. The day's history shows progress is possible through collective action, but torture persists in too many places, often justified by security or order. Our vigilance must not waver. Document abuses, demand accountability, and support defenders. Support for survivors must go beyond words. Rehabilitation and redress restore faith in justice. Every act of support sends a message. The world has not forgotten. Survivors' courage inspires us all. Let's renew our pledge for a world free from torture. Amplify survivors' voices, support activists, and demand more from leaders. Let this day unite us in consigning torture to the past, forever.